Park City, Utah, the venue for the 2002 Winter Olympic Games sliding sports. We're at the home of ice sliding in the west coast of America. Hello everybody, welcome to winter in the Wasatch Mountains. Yesterday it was autumn, today the teeth of winter have arrived with a bang. It's the second race of the BMW IBSF Women's Bobsleigh World Cup, and as we head into our second heat, Martin Haben and John Morgan in the warm and dry, enjoying the action with you. John, another tight race on our hands.
Alana Myers with Lolo Jones. Little tap there before that curve up top really compromised her time at the bottom. Even so, she's in a bronze medal position. Silver medal last week in Lake Placid to open the year. Right next up, Kaylee Humphries and Melissa Lowles. Well, she won the last time they were on this track, and she had one of the early draws. Drove the sled like she was doing a video game. Perfect. She's in second place. And they're chasing down these two right here. Jamie Grubel-Poser, Lauren Gibbs. She was on the brakes last week. And Alana Myers-Taylor. And here on this day, Jamie Grubel-Poser, who finished fourth last week in Lake Placid, puts herself in a gold medal position, but Martin, the times are pretty close.
1700 of a second covering the top three. The third US sledder, Brittany Reinbold, 100th out of the medals. And really behind them, there's too big a gap to jump here. Stephanie Schneider, ahead of teammate Mariama Yamanka. All 20 sleds made it down, despite the wind, the snow, the gale forces at the top of the track. And they will go in reverse order. 20th down to 1, which means that the leader is last to go on this demanding track. And the temperature has been plunging all day long. -2 Celsius at the moment, ice -5. And RJ Shannon, the track manager here, and his crew were here late last night. It rained cats and dogs all night and most of the morning. They've been desperately trying to keep the track alive. And then the snowstorm hit as well. So heads up to those guys for getting us any racing going at all. The first race of the day, women's skeleton, will be held tomorrow. The four-man race was held over from lunchtime, and now flip-flops here with the women's bobsled. So second heat of the second race of the BMW IBSF World Cup for women's sleds. And we start with our two Japanese contenders. Konomi Osasu was first off in the first heat, 20th fastest. She'll go first off in the second heat. And Jamie Grubel-Poser, who took a bronze medal last time that we were racing here, will be the last to go. She and Lauren Gibbs defending a slender lead over the winner last time out, or winning duo last time out, Kaylee Humphries and Melissa Lottholtz. Just in case you wanted to know, the silver medalists last time, Christina Hengstra and Sanna Decker, currently lying in 10th spot. Second round, second heat of the women's bobsleigh competition here in Park City, Utah. First to go, as they were in the first run, Konomi Osasu and Natsumi Kawasaki, the Japanese duo, in 20th place after the first heat.
Well, they didn't get a start time in the first run because it was so windy up there. See what they do here. 5:52. Giving them the second worst start of the first run. First time she's been here.
One thing you know,
I bet you she was here during North America's Cup though last season.
Third time here, in fact. She's done 2 North America's Cup races. Yes. One thing you notice immediately on this first run of the second heat is how much less snow there is than even 15 minutes ago. It was gale force winds in the final run of the men's opening heat. These are much better conditions than the first run.
Much better drive too. Very, very quiet steering. It's very meticulous track. Since I said that, she crushed the wall at 15 or 14.
As the commentator strikes already, 52.07, a fraction slower than her first heat.
2,400 slower. More than 3,400 slower.
And mistakes for the Japanese driver. She's down with no major dramas to worry about.
Once the backs end here as she enters the sled. I mean, you have to get in, get down with cat-like movements, and before that first curve. And look at something's dragging there. The brake. Oh, the drift. That's driver error. Probably caught her foot in the D-rings. And then down here, this is in the graveyard section. It's an uphill section of the track. It's the graveyard where you can lose all your time. And the meticulous part of the track is that graveyard section, Mark. We've seen a lot of people lose time.
You're going back.
Second sled, 19th after the first heat, and just a few hundredths of a second in front of their teammates, Maria Oshigiri. And making her World Cup debut, brakewoman Mariko Morimoto has never raced in a bobsled in her life.
Driver here, Oshigara, great story in last year's World Championship, 7th place finish. Probably the most surprising finish for anybody in the competition. And I've been saying it since then, the best Japanese finish in the World Championships or the Olympic Games in the history of Japan. And they've been in the sport since the 30s.
Oshigiri crashed in training yesterday with brakewoman Arisa Kimishima. So Kimishima on the sidelines today. That means Morimoto gets this.
Those are some great lines.
Half a second ahead of a teammate.
Last year, the Japanese reached out to Hans Wimmer, the German, to coach him, and he built sleds, so they're driving his equipment, and that has a lot to do why they finished 7th. It was the first time the Japanese have ever reached out to foreign coaches. The results speak for themselves. And look, she taps the helmet of the brake when you stop the sled because, as you said, she's a real rookie. There's Hans Wimmer on the left. Long time involvement in the sport from Berchtesgaden. Listen to him.
Quicker start by 200s, and they were faster by 1700s down the run. And the snow is deep and thick at the finish line. Two sleds down, 18 to go. Second race of the BMW IBSF Women's Bobsleigh World Cup. One twin down, one to go. Sabina Hafner with late replacement Rahel Repsamen on the back of the sled. Evelyn, her twin sister, the younger of the 2x4 minutes, was due to start. She's moving the sled around for them. Rahel making what is her second World Cup appearance.
With the padding on the inside there, that's because the driver's shoulders. She's trying to prevent the abrasion in there. Start time for the Firecrackers, her name.
900's quicker than the first heat, John.
And she won medals in the World Cup between 2006 and 10. And then we didn't see her for 4 years. And where did she go? Well, she was an electrician. And then after the Olympics in 2010, she went to school. Now she's an electrical engineer. The bobsled club, she still got it. So she's out here this year. It's great to see her.
Double junior world champion, 2009, 2010. Behind her, Rahel Repsamen. One World Cup start in Pyeongchang last year. She drove great in the World Championships with Martina Fontenevi. Again,
there, it'll cost her a little bit, but this is a better run than she had in the first heat. Boy, she's 51.16, is that correct?
Yeah. That's nearly 3 tenths of a second.
3,700 is better in the second. She was very disappointed in the first run. Walked right away from the sled. They call her the Firecracker for a reason. She's got a pretty loud personality.
Well, that would have left her.
Now she's happy. Look, now she's smiling a little bit happier.
Would have left her 12th in the first heat.
This tap didn't help. It's the graveyard uphill. TV does not do it justice. That's a steep uphill grade. And you hit going uphill in a gravity sport, not a good combination.
Our current race leader then, Sabina Hafner, hasn't raced here since 2009. Next up, Maria Constantine has never driven this track in her career. She's got new brakewoman, 21-year-old Kostina Jusko behind her. Lake Placid was Kostina's first ever bobsled race. This is her second. So total trips down track so far, 8 and 6, that's 14, and 1 this evening, that's 15.
See the side of the sled, it says Sanaya. That's an old track up in the Romanian
Carpathian Mountains. And they're natural tracks.
A lot of people like Paul Niagara, their coach right there, used to drive it. They haven't been sliding up there since the late 80s. 5 5:45 start, 403. She's a good driver. Her and Hafner have a lot in common. Hafner's older, but she'll be very quiet as she goes down this track with her steering.
Definitely the weather conditions much better than the first heat.
Dead heat right now, and Hafner was perfect. Game on here. Boy, there's a race within a race. Even though these girls are back here in 16th, 17th, 18th place, they still want to kick out a number in advance.
Now, the other thing for Maria is there are two Romanian sleds. We haven't seen the other one yet, which means Maria was worse than her teammate in the first heat.
That's the race within a race.
There you go. Behind Hafner at the line, 1500s behind.
136, so she's 1100s.
So Sabina Hafner and Rahel Rebsamen of Switzerland live in the leader's box.
200s.
Now, is that enough to overhaul her teammate Andrea Grecu, who is similarly making her first race appearance here? Romanian slip behind Switzerland. Hafner climbs one spot up the leaderboard. 16 sleds to go.
Hafner could get a couple more sleds here.
Maybe she could. Taking the cover off her helmet in the background, Andrea Grecu in the foreground. Beatrice Pugh, her new brakewoman. A former sprinter. Andrea Grecu, former brakewoman, drove a few World Cup races last year. She's never been here before. Outdrove her teammate by 900ths of a second.
Youngest driver in the field.
She is.
5:40 start in the first run. And look at the brakeman, you can tell the inexperience there, the way she get in with the right hand, with the left arm, coming over and attack out of curve one, which is on this track, when you deal with so little time at the bottom that separates everybody. Little mistake here or there, and that up quite a bit at the bottom, another skid there. Really steep on top of this track. They've been going 75 miles an hour in the first 400 meters.
You really feel it. It picks up speed so quickly.
The lines there, still green numbers, 2/10. A lot of time. She's going to have to make a major mistake here. On the
Don't say stuff like that, John. I just guarantee she's going to hit the wall.
Graveyard.
Good run
straight here, she should maintain.
Yeah. The pressure's right. First time ever on this track. And she beats her teammate.
There's the persona of this track. 100th of a second. This is not the last sled we're going to see separated by 100th of a second. I mean, the men's race that's coming up, there's 3 sleds separated by 400ths at the top of the leaderboard.
In fact, she beats Sabina Hafner by 100. She beats her teammate by nearly 2/10, and that'll put a smile on Andrea Grecu's face.
Again, youngest driver in the field. A lot of promise here for the Romanians. And they did not hit that cohesive hit where the driver and the brakeman hit the come out of the block at the same exact time. Teamwork. So I said, look at the way the brakeman comes in, one arm, the other, and that's just experience.
Second ever World Cup start, second ever bobsleigh race for the brakewoman, Beatrice Pugh. Andrea Grecu leads for Romania. 5 down, 15 to go. Cold, crisp, and wintry in Park City, Utah. Martin Hayden, John Morgan watching the second race of the BMW IBSF Women's Bobsleigh World Cup season. 5 down, race being led by rookie Andrea Grecu in her first appearance here. This is Russia's Alexandra Rodionova with Anastasia Koshetsova behind her.
Disappointing run for Rodionova in the first heat. She's got way too much experience. She was a luge athlete for a couple of Olympic Games, been down this track, I'm sure 100 times in luge, so she should know the ice, but just has not been delivered. She's got the equipment. You know, an average start time, but with all that experience, you think she'd be able to use it to her advantage.
It's only her second time here in a bobsleigh race team at North America's Cup 2 or 3 years ago, learning the tracks. Brakewoman making only her 10th World Cup start, Anastasia Koshetsova.
She's only got 1000ths in the bank. Gonna need to down to 8. She's gonna need to be clean here in this uphill section of the graveyard.
Might lose time to the Romanians here.
This is another one.
No, pulling away from Andrea Grecu.
She did at the bottom what we expect her to do. There's Zubka.
Yeah, he expects, doesn't he? Double Olympic champion in Sochi.
Now the president and CEO of the Russian Federation. And You think he puts any pressure on his athletes?
Well, you don't want to disappoint him. A happy Zubkov is a happy Zubkov. And there's got to meet the unhappy Zubkov. So there is your race leader, Alexandra Rodionova.
Well, her brakeman is about 6 foot. Look at the stride. Now watch the entry into the sled. Cat-like movement. Look at, see her there. Nice arm technique, came over the top, cohesiveness.
You've got to be strong, but boy, you've got to be flexible to get into these sleds. Alexandra Rodionova leads for Russia. 14 sleds remain. First of which is Anne van Nieuwenhuizen from Belgium, with new brakewoman Shana van Heen, who is now in her second World Cup and second bobsled race ever.
300 separate the Russians at the bottom, and this one of the two Belgian bird sleds. And had a pretty good trip in the first run.
Starts a tenth slower than Rodionova, the current leader, so she's in the red.
Good line so far. Down to, look at that, she's gone from double digits to 500s. Could be green numbers by the time, there it is. So if she's clean here at Albert's Alley, she is.
This is her second race here, John. Last time she was 7th in the field.
Might be the shortest driver in the field. 1300s. Well, this is what she did in the first run. Great bottom half of the track. 16th best start. But a much better fit. Look at her duck her head. Well, when you're only 5 foot, you can do that.
Yeah, but 100th of a second might move her up a spot or two. So she moves into the lead. And she is chasing her rival for shortest driver in the field, who comes up next, which is Misha McNeil of Great Britain. They're only 600s apart.
And she was 1400s better in her second run than the first.
Well, Misha had a very bad transition, 3 to 4 in the first heat. She's got to avoid that and try and improve.
Look at these lines. I mean, there's perfect aerodynamic position from her brakeman. A little rough here, though. Gets on there. Look at the, oh, she was up high. There must be a bump there.
Yeah.
We've seen a couple teams.
Well, when they hit that take on, it bounces the driver up in the air. Here's Misha McNeil of Great Britain with Mika Moore behind her, the reigning junior world champions in women's bobsled. And Misha, a silver medalist in the Youth Olympic Games as well, with Jasmine Sawyers back in 2012. Mika Moore, 100-meter record holder for Wales.
The M&M girls.
They are. Self-funded program. They raise their money online. Then British Bobsleigh said there was no money for them this season.
Oh, they might be the smallest team in the field. Wait.
Yeah.
See if she gets through this curve. 3 to 4 combination got hit.
Yeah.
This time much better on the right-hand side of the wall. She had a choice where she wanted to go on the takedown where you get on the curve and where you exit the curve, which is called the outlet.
10th up at the start, 900s ahead of Anne van Nieuwenhuizen.
She had good lines in the bottom last heat. Her mistake up at 3-4 cost her the position she was up in 8th place in Lake Placid last week, one of her personal bests.
Slips behind the Belgian sled. She was 18th and 19th in the double race weekend here. Only time she's been before. This is a big improvement.
Second
spot, 51.13, 100th quicker than her first run. So Belgians stay in the lead. Anne on the left and Shana on the right. There's Coach Lee Johnson.
Taking it all in.
Raced here in the 2002 Winter Games for Great Britain. Bruce Tasker behind. He'll be pushing in the 4-man race tomorrow.
Not happy.
No. You're never happy when you lose a spot.
This probably had a lot to do with it. This is uphill. You just don't understand. TV doesn't do it justice how steep that is going up that section of the graveyard right before the finish curve.
She was only 300ths of a second off the lead at the line. So they lie in second place with 12 sleds to go, first of which is German rookie, new to the program in the World Cup this year, Anna Kohler. So this is only her second World Cup race. She's 24 years old, and Kristen Strack has raced with 5 different German brakewomen, 5 different German drivers now.
37 in the first run.
Leaps in like a bag of swans.
29, 800s better. I'm sure the coaches said, hey, you two can do better than that. They're both good athletes.
And again, gust of wind at the wrong time.
Could be.
Easily.
the wind outside has been ridiculous. The weather here, the weather pattern here in the last 24 hours has been ridiculous. Ooh, she took a lot of that curve. Again, you know, first time here.
Yep.
Albin's Alley, she's got 2/10 of the lead. Should be the leader at the bottom.
Silver medalist in the Junior Worlds behind Misha McNeil. 1300s up still.
No mistakes allowed here. And she's pretty good.
She was only 900s ahead of the Belgians in the first bottom.
600's better. The Belgians look on and they know. Ready Spies.
Yeah, Leopold on the right. He's their physical conditioning trainer.
He's been around for a couple of decades plus.
Knows a trick or two. He's the guy that keeps men like Kevin Kuska in the loop for 16 years.
Look at all the snow in that outrun. They're going to have to probably. So that, you know what? It's so snowy because the four-mans dig it up so much in the break stretch. They might have to start shoveling some of that out. She got too high there. Look at that. Look at the adjustment. Got high and came down real quick. And here she's on the wrong side of the straightaway. Now she's going to go into that Wasatch curve and really have to steer hard on the wrong side of the entry point.
6 practice runs in daylight and racing at nighttime. Not easy. Germany lead. Russia up next. The better of the Russian sled, Nadezhda Sergeva, with Yulia Shokshweva behind her. And Sergeva has only raced here a couple of times in North America's Cup, has never done a World Cup race here. Shokshweva, 29-year-old from St. Petersburg. Last year was her first full season. She'd had a couple of one-off appearances before that in the Russian team.
Best finish of the year last year, real coming out party for her, was a 4th place in Winterberg, and she did good at the pre-Olympic test in Korea, 6th. Not so good here today.
A couple of hundreds quicker than their first run. They're in a dead heat with Anna Kohler of Germany, who's the current leader after the first heat. So not even 100th of a second to separate them.
Sound. Right there, wrong side of that curve to enter.
Already a 10th down. That's a little better, but 1900ths away.
She's lost a lot of time.
Kohler didn't have great top speed. Can she close at all? She's too far back.
Could lose a couple places.
And she's going 4 spots down the order. 5th fastest time.
8th best time. Boy, if they show us Alexander Zubkov here, they're not going to be happy. The German girls are happy.
Yeah, there's Kohler on the left. Kohler.
Ava, the Russians. Yeah. She just fell behind her teammate.
She did this last weekend. She dropped spots in the second heat.
Look how disappointment.
Yeah, she walks away without a second glance, doesn't she?
To fall, 8th best time of the run. What happened? I mean, here's a mistake, but we didn't see a lot of it up top. Well, you can tell what she thinks of her run.
Disappointed Nadezhda Sergeva. 10 sleds down, 10 to go. Anna Kohler of Germany leads from Anne van Nieuwenhuis of Belgium and Misha McNeil of Great Britain. Icy weather, night racing, women's bobsled World Cup Race 2. Martin Haben, John Morgan, trackside at Park City, Utah, the 2002 Olympic venue. Christina Hengster and Sanna Decker of Austria, silver medalists last time on this track.
5:36 in the first run, but 5:43 there. Could have been a gust to win, but that's a 700s difference at the start. This is a sport of repetition. To be 700s off at the start, I say that must be wind related.
You really see the shades blowing around as they loaded, so I think you're right.
And then last week in the first runway classes, she crashed. So today she had to start in last, and that's not an advantage. Look at these lines. These lines are good, but she's going to be perfect to get to the bottom as the leader.
600s behind when she sat down.
Here it comes. She's got a chance. Good speed. Perfect line here. She has a chance.
It'll be very close, but Anna Kohler may well have the lead at the line and does.
That little drift at the bottom where she tapped cost her 500s.
Well, even that bang on the wall at the line, that's enough.
What really hurt her was the start. She's 1400s behind the Germans there at the start. She was wasn't that far behind.
She was 100th fast
behind
in the first heat.
Yeah. So the Germans were 1,400s better at the start in the second run than she was. And then this cost her the lead.
Double tap there, and then she hits the wall coming across the finish line. Look at this.
That didn't help. The Omega sign right there is the finish line.
Bouncing the sled up in the air. You want to try lifting those things. That's a lot of energy out of the sled. That basically put the brakes on. So Christina Hengster, silver medalist last time out here, drops down into second. Anna Koller leads with 9 to go. And it's our second Belgian sled. Elfie Willemsen with new brakewoman Sarah Ert behind her.
1000ths lead. She's going to give up a lot of time at the start.
She was 5th here last time out, Elfie. The rookie driver from Germany leads at the moment. Can Willemsen overhaul her?
5:44. That's the exact same start as the first one. So no wind-related effect up there for the queen of the Belgian bullets here, Elfie Willemsen. Did pretty good on the track. Here last time she was here.
5th place.
There's only 5 teams in the field who competed here in January 2016.
Yeah.
That's an amazing step. 900s. Well, if anybody can make these red numbers turn to green here in the last 200 meters, it's this one, right here.
Got to be clean out of the Olympic curve because she hit the wall last time, had a drift and a tap.
This is going to go right to the 100. She's got a chance.
Very close. And ties for the lead with Anna Koller. So Anna Koller stays in the leader's box with 8 sleds to go.
Well, she took the red numbers all the way down. 3rd best at the start, all the way down to time. Elfie likes it. She got beat by 1,500 at the start, too.
She was a 10th quicker than Anna Koller in the first heat, a 10th slower in the second heat.
And this wasn't perfect. Right side of your screen, front bump tap. That cost her at least 300-400s.
And the rest probably a 10th of a second to the line. However, she is tied for the lead with 8 to go. Most of the top 8 sleds now are North American. We've got 3 Canadian and 3 US sleds still to go in 8 remaining. First of whom is Christine de Bruyn with Cynthia Appiah behind her.
6th place last week in Lake Placid, which was pretty good considering she had a little mishap in training.
She hasn't raced here in World Cup. She's done 2 North America's Cup races. This is only Christine's 8th World Cup start.
5:29 in the first run. Important to get an equal time in the second. 5:27, even better. Ooh, but a big tap out of curve 1. That's going to add a 10th at the bottom right there. Good entrance in the sun. Watch her climb. Snowy right here. Ooh, look at that spray. So she got on the take on there. And look at how late she got off at the exit and another skid. So she made a mistake up there. It's cost her for 100 meters. She's still in a skid.
She was 400s ahead of Elfie Willemsen in the first heat, 500s back. And another tap, 600s. The gap is growing by the tiniest of margins. Good run there.
I think she lost a lot up top before Albertsal.
That might bring it back close, not enough.
Pretty good on the bottom. So there's multiple teams in the leader's box. And
get those girls some jackets, by the way. It's not warm out.
Well, Christina knows that was not a clean run for her.
Drops 4 spots.
Good start.
600s between the top 4 now.
You know, we could pick 4 places, but that Exodus, look at her. She knows. Yeah. Exodus sunny. There's some problems down here, but right here, look how late she is here in the crossover. Now watch the sled climb there. Now she has to steer down more. She had a 300 or 400 meters. Look at the skid there. That mistake there is all related to 70, 80 yards above that.
Downcast Christine de Bruyn. Next up for Canada, Alicia Rissling, who celebrated her birthday yesterday with teammate Felicia George, who was on the back of the sled in training. Alicia, 29 years old. Christian Bernowski, new to the team this year, 25.
Well, there's a race within a race. These two were 6th and 7th last week. Rissling 7th, de Bruyn 6th. 5:33 start for Riesling, who finished third in Korea last year in the pre-Olympic test. Was the best Canadian, bested Kaylee Humphries, which surprised a lot of people, but 7th place last week in Lake Placid. She got only a 300s lead, but this is a very capable driver.
This is her 10th World Cup race as a driver, Alicia Riesling. Good line, little skid.
Uh-oh. She can still maintain the lead with perfect lines. 6, yeah, she's on the perfect line now. Now the graveyard. Can she get through here straight? Yes. This should be the leader.
Now, is this enough to put her in the top 6?
Not only the leader, she accelerated away at the bottom part of the track.
Fastest run of the heat shared with Anne van Nieuwenhuis. Big smile from coach Lyndon Rush. He knows a thing or two about winning medals on this track. Kristen Brosnowski, her brakewoman, 2nd ever race in a bobsled here. Her debut was in Lake Placid last week.
Let's start. The driver and brakeman got to hit that point perfectly. I don't know if that was perfect, but again, you're saying it's their 2nd race. They're the leaders.
You all my classroom chops?
6 to go. Germany's Mariama Yamanka and Erlina Nolte here. Yamanka in her first and only ever previous World Cup race here really shocked everybody with a 6th place finish in 2016. It was only her 3rd World Cup start.
Now she's got like a 30/100ths lead on Riesling, and the next 6 sleds are separated by 30/100ths. It's so close. Yamanka finished 6th in this race in January of 16. She's been coming on. She can drive.
Reigning European champion.
4th best start so far. There's that lead I mentioned, so she's not worried about the sleds behind her. She's going to nail one here, have a chance to move up 2 or 3 spots.
She's only have a big margin over Alicia Riesling.
It's not going to help. Half a second, but that's going to... Riesling was good down here.
She's only 400s away from her teammate Stephanie Schneider, who's right in front of her. Still 4700s up, little skid that avoids the tap. Clean at the line to be half a second in front. She is.
50-83, 1600 slower. Coaches are not happy. They're cheering, but they know that that was not the drive that she needed.
2/10 quicker than anybody else in this 2nd heat so far. Next fastest run was a 51.04. She's done a 50.83.
Again, these next 5-6 sleds here are separated from that 7 back. This here, she's trying to get over to the take-on and the skid, and she hits with the front bunk. That's an acceleration point, and that just slows you down.
Our teammates offering their congratulations. Germany's Mariama Yamanka is our race leader with 5 to go here in Park City, Utah. Top German sled in the BMW IBSF 2nd women's bobsleigh race of the season is Stephanie Schneider, the rookie, with Lisa Marie Buchwitz behind her. Martin Hagen and John Morgan calling the action trackside in Utah. And these girls with a 400th of a second advantage over their teammates.
5:24 the first run. 5:20. Well, were they better, or was that a wind gust that got them in the first run? 3rd best start. This was the big surprise last weekend, finishing with a bronze medal. Stephanie Schneider started off last season, broken collarbone up in Whistler. They sent her home back in Europe, and 2 or 3 races she waited, she broke, she hurt herself again with another crash in Winterberg. But this is a very good athlete who's won medals on this track before as a brakeman with Kathleen Martini.
2012 got the bronze medal. This is her 7th World Cup start.
Oh, this is a good run. 3/10 ahead of her teammate.
This is a challenge potentially
for a medal.
To get into a medal. It's not
Look at
beyond
her
the
duck
bounds
her
of
head.
yeah,
54.49. That's 1400s better. Wow, and there's a race within a race. You know, the Germans are all competing against each other for the Germany #1 designation.
50.49 in the first heat would have left her in third spot. That is an epic run from the rookie. Missed most of last season with that broken collarbone that she re-injured as soon as she got back in the sled.
Look at her stance. Look how low she is coming up. Now this is an athlete from track and field. She was a hammer thrower. Look at the technique. She's one of the better pushing drivers in the field. Little tap there in Albert's Alley. Wasn't too bad.
She pushed with Kathleen Martini, who started on the front handle, and Anja Schneiderheinzer, who also started on the front handle. So did Sandra Kiriasis. 4 sleds to go, all North Americans. 3 American sleds, 1 Canadian sled. Brittany Reinbold and Asia Evans, 100th out of the medals in the first heat.
Asia Evans propelled Brittany Reinbold to a 26 in the first run. That's not the normal starts that she gets. 5:26 again, exact same start. And you know, Brittany Reinbold's got a chance to post her best finish ever.
3 years ago, Asia Evans, a double gold medalist here with Alana Myers-Taylor.
Oh, 100th of a second. Now she's, the flight instructor's got to find the fastest line down the track.
Better get the wings out.
And tap.
Tap.
It was still 100. She was good on the bottom part of the track in the first run. She's going to need to be. She's in red numbers now. 200's back.
Really good speed, 78.7 miles an hour. How close can she get? Good run up to the line. She could hold off Stephanie Schneider. Oh!
Second best, still the top finish. Best finish ever for Brittany Reinbold. Congratulations to her. Little mistake. She doesn't look happy, and it's her best finish ever.
Yeah, it's her 12th ever World Cup start, Brittany Reinbold, but she knows that a chance perhaps to get a medal may have drifted away, but it may not.
Well, this is the tap up there in Albert's Alley that was costly. Take on, and then she gets into that Wasatch curve, not on her terms, but on the curve's terms, and when you do that, oversteering, loss of time, 700th of a second, right there, maybe.
Second place, Stephanie Schneider leads, 3 to go. 2 seasons ago, Alana Myers-Taylor won both races here in the double women's bobsled weekend. Missed the last time out through concussion. And with Lolo Jones behind her, they were winners in Eagles in Austria last season.
They only had a 5:22 in the first run, and I thought they should have been better than that. Could have been wind issue. There's the 5:16. That's what I expected. Wow. I was really surprised that these 2 fantastic athletes only had the 4th best.
5:22 was the second fastest start in the first heat. They've outstarted anyone today now.
1900 lead. She's going to have a perfect run here, Alana, to move up.
She's looking for a 3rd win in 3 outings.
Good line, 2000s. She's going to have to get out to 25, 3000s to have a chance to win this race.
This is not about Schneider. This is about
back
the sleds in front.
Clean here. Yeah. Shows 15, 1600s probably.
And at the line,
13.
50.50.
I think she drifted a little bit. That's a bronze medal, but you know, we're talking about an athlete here who only knows podium finishes, usually first and second. 2 great athletes here.
This is our women's bobsleigh world champion. 2 sleds to go. Alana Myers-Taylor has the lead again here in Park City.
Lolo Jones. Great video we put out about her transition from track and field to bobsled. The FIBT website.
From world champion to Olympic champion, the only woman to race in goggles, Kaylee Humphreys with Melissa Lottholtz. Last time on this track, these ladies won gold.
Well, that 5:16 start. I'm sure Kaylee Humphreys saw that. She started 5:25 in the first run.
Again, unrepresentative, you've got to think.
With the leaders. You're probably looking at a dry run here at the Olympics between the team at the bottom, this team, and the team coming up. They were the same three. They finished in the top 3 positions at the Sochi Olympics, 5:23. So Kelly Humphries drove the sled like it was a video game in the first run, right down the middle. Didn't make a mistake.
She was 700s faster than Alana after the first heat. Started 700 slower,
but she's already only got 4.
She's tied.
Now she's already got the lead.
Here we go.
This is what she does.
Slower than Alana.
Perfect line.
Now she's quicker in the speed trap.
900s. Now she starts to accelerate away.
This is for gold. She's looking to overhaul Jamie Grubel-Poser.
Wasn't perfect there, but
nobody's been perfect so far. Oh, and bumps the wall, and that might be a deciding factor. A 1/10 of a second quicker than Alana has come down.
No, she beat Alana by 700s there. She's 1000s in the first two, got her by 700s there. But Kelly Humphries could do no worse than second, and she'll be the World Cup leader no matter what happens, because Jamie Grubel-Poser finished 4th in the race last week coming up. She's coming up next. And the start, well, they knew they needed to get better at the start and watch the technique. And then here at the bottom, I agree with you. She hit there before they made the finish line.
Again, you know, how many kilos of sled flying up into the air?
Like
that's a lot of energy lost. You're only traveling another few meters, but
you don't want to be going up. You want to be going out. Forward.
Kelly Humphries, the Olympic champion, leads from Alana Myers-Taylor and Stephanie Schneider. 1 to go. Jamie Grubel-Poser, last time on this track with Lauren Gibbs, took bronze. Can she go gold?
Gibbs with Alana Myers-Taylor last week when they got the silver. 19 in the first run. 23. Ooh, that's the same start that Humphries just had.
Yep, so she only has a 10th in hand.
Yeah. She's controlling her destiny. It's her race to lose right now. But she's 1400s up. Wow.
The World Cup champion last season, and at 34, the oldest driver in the field.
Cornell University heptathlete, 9, and Gibbs is a Brown University volleyball player, so we've got some Ivy League here.
More speed than Humphries, still 900ths of a second in front. She needs a clean bottom to the track. She's got one.
This is going to be close, though. I think the finish.
Gold for Jamie Grubel-Poser. She ties the same time and the same start as Kaylee Humphries in the second heat. Holds on to that 1/10 of a second advantage, and it is the first win of the season for Jamie Grubel-Poser with Lauren Gibbs behind her. 2 wins this year for Lauren Gibbs then.
Great.
So Jamie Grubel-Poser
drove much better. Drove much better in this run than she did last week in Lake Placid, but she fell to 4th.
So the win for Jamie Grubel-Poser and Lauren Gibbs. Bronze medal here 2 years ago, and there is the little logo they're wearing in memory of the late great Stephen Holcomb, a man who was born and bred here in Park City, spent his youth recklessly racing mountain bikes up and down the mountains. So much so that his mum was actually glad when he took up downhill skiing and then converted to bobsled. A big win for Jamie Grubel-Poser. Kaylee Humphries takes silver. Alana Myers-Taylor the bronze. Stephanie Schneider 4th. Brittany Reinbold 5th. Mariama Yamanka in 6th spot. A 1/10 of a second in front after the first heat. Jamie Grubel-Poser and Lauren Gibbs tied Kaylee Humphries at the start in the second heat and set exactly the same time for the run to win gold by a 1/10 of a second. Well, Jamie with 2 wins last season, 1 in North America in Lake Placid. She has 1 in North America now in Park City from Humphreys and Myers-Taylor, her closest rivals for all of last year. Stephanie Schneider continues her great form with 4th ahead of Brittany Reinbolt and Mariama Yamanka. And there is the rest of the finishing order. Disappointment for the Russians, 14th and 15th. Romania's Andrea Grecu beating her teammate Maria Constantin, as 15 of these drivers make their first appearance here. After 12 hours of torrential rain overnight and towards lunchtime today, and then a snowstorm sweeping through the Wasatch Mountains, fantastic work by RJ Shannon and the rest of the track workers here has kept this track raceable. We've got our 2nd women's bobsleigh competition of the season done and dusted. 2 races in, we have 2 different winners this season. And Jamie Grubel-Poser, the World Cup champion, takes her first win of the season. Last year was off the podium just once. This year she's been off the podium once. 4th place, she slipped out of the medals last week in Lake Placid. But Jamie claiming victory here, the former heptathlete, who now is based at the Olympic Training Centre in Lake Placid. Well, it's still gusting with wind, temperature -2 plus wind chill.